Welcome to today's episode of Erased with Lebanon Now's Girl Power Initiative, sponsored by June and Beyond, Cavell, Tees, and Kim Breeden with Shelter Insurance. I went blank for a second. Today, I'm here with Crystal Lloyd, and we're going to meet Crystal a little bit more here in just a second. But we are going to talk about a topic that is a little bit taboo sometimes, a little uncomfortable for people. But if you have ever Googled or ChatGPT'd, why does it burn when I pee at 2 o'clock in the morning, this episode is going to be for you because we're going to talk all things UTI and vaginal health. So let's jump in. Crystal.
Yeah.
Tell me about you, like your credentials, a little bit about your home life, just so that way everybody gets to know you.
Sure. So I'm Crystal Lloyd. I am from Camdenton. My husband is Mike. We have 2 girls, Stella and Adeline, and I am a family nurse practitioner currently practicing full-time in the Lebanon Express Care for Lake Regional. I have 16 years of nursing experience with a vast background of different specialties, labor and delivery, intensive care, emergency medicine, forensics, and most recently neurology prior to transitioning to express care.
Perfect. So you in express care, I'm sure get to see a lot of, I have burning with urination. I think it's a UTI.
Absolutely. It's one of the most common complaints, especially for women, it seems. Wake up in the middle of the night, know that they didn't go to bed with anything hurting, and all of a sudden there's this unpleasant feeling that they've woken up to. So
Right. And a lot of times for women, when something starts to feel off, our mind immediately goes to, oh my gosh, it must be a UTI.
Absolutely.
But that's not always the case.
Absolutely. So urinary tract infections, while they are common, can definitely share similar symptoms with things such as bacterial vaginosis, and yeast infections, which are also pretty common, and people don't give them the credit that they deserve sometimes.
Right. Okay. So what are some let's talk common symptoms for a UTI specifically.
So oftentimes, first sign is going to be some mild burning, feeling like you can't empty your bladder, feeling like you need to go constantly. Those are the number one signs that your body's trying to tell you, hey, something's up. We need some assistance here.
Perfect. And what are common causes for a UTI? So there are women out there that get recurrent or very frequent UTIs. And there's got to be something that they're doing that they don't realize that they're doing that's kind of contributing to these infections.
Absolutely. So big things are dehydration. We're classic at not pushing nearly enough water throughout a day.
Right.
We latch onto our caffeine beverages, but while they have their place, water is so important. Using harsh chemicals, tight, non-breathable underwear, things like that. Also, not urinating after intercourse, that will allow bacteria to travel into the urinary tract and then lead to an infection.
Yeah, so that's why they always say you have to pee after sex.
Absolutely.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing. Yeah, it's not just something that your mom used to tell you for good measure. It's
right. And honestly, when you talk about avoiding harsh chemicals, as women, we want to make sure everything is clean, right? And fresh. So it's like we're in the shower and all of our body washes and our soaps, and it's like we're going to make sure, everything's nice.
Yes. And I get the thought. I do, but the vagina is an amazing organ and it cleans itself very well. And so while we want everything to smell good, when we use all of those soaps, harsh chemicals, lotions, things like that, it actually upsets the pH and then can start a domino effect of basically lowering pH, allowing bacteria to travel places that it shouldn't, causing, increased discharge, which then leads to an infection. I mean, it's just this cause and effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Well, it's so weird that you think about that. Don't use the soap.
Right.
Excuse me. I want to use the soap.
Yes, but warm water, cleaning with warm water does very good at cleaning and keeping things smelling nice.
Noted. Okay, so let me look at my notes because we've gone through a lot of stuff. So if it's not, what's the next thing that you see? So if women come in with symptoms very similar to a UTI and you rule that out initially, what is the next most common infection or anything that they're struggling with that you see?
So generally it's bacterial vaginosis. And people misconceive that as a sexually transmitted infection, but it's actually not. What happens is that we deplete or kill off good, healthy bacteria, and that causes a bad bacteria overgrowth, which then can have overlapping symptoms such as the burning, itching, discharge, which people can then mistake for urinary tract infection.
And I've had a lot of, just because I've worked in primary care, I've had a lot of like friends call and say, oh my gosh, I just had a PAP and they said I had bacterial vaginosis. What is this? Yeah. I'm like, calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's very, very common actually.
Well, and another side of it is that as we age and our body chemistry changes, normal hormones shift, and that then leads to a change in the normal flora that's present. And that can also contribute to bacterial vaginosis factors.
And then like, especially when talking about hormones and like the older population, those older ladies who constantly come in for UTI symptoms, a lot of times it's not even that they have a UTI, it's that, they don't have any estrogen anymore. And so they just need those hormones because everything is, dry and irritated.
Absolutely. And that allows bacteria to just travel back up into the urinary system, because what we don't realize, or what a lot of women don't realize, is that estrogen is actually helping to promote lubrication. And the vagina is a mucous membrane. The urinary tract is a mucous membrane. And so when we're depleted in those hormones, that membrane can't work like it normally would.
That makes sense. I have had one UTI in my entire life, and I got it when I was 29.
Ugh.
And I was in Mexico, okay? Like,
even worse.
I know. So I'm in Mexico, and I'm down there for my 10-year anniversary. And they have, of course, the big, huge jacuzzi tub. And I'm like, yes, because I'm a sucker for a bath, right? Well, you give a big jacuzzi bathtub and you're like, where are the bubbles? So I just grabbed whatever little
soap they had
and poured it in there. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm in Mexico at an all-inclusive resort. So water at the time was not like top of my list. But I'm telling you right now, I would never wish that on anybody.
No.
Like, they're terrible.
They are terrible, and they're very painful, and that's why they're so alarming for people. And they tend to have a likelihood of rearing their heads at the worst times, it seems, too.
Yeah, it was super fun. Went and saw the Mexican doctor and got some
antibiotics.
So. Yeah. I'm like, never again will I do that.
Got the full experience.
Oh, did I ever? He did a full exam on me too. Not like actual, but like he head to toe. I'm like, sir, I just have a UTI. Right. Can I please have some Cipro? So I can go on about my day. But yeah, UTIs are not fun.
No, not at all.
Not at all. And like you said, the vagina is great at like taking care of herself.
Right.
She's when don't touch me.
Exactly. When we intervene, that's when problems happen most of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. All right. So we talked about symptoms that people have. And we talked about causes of UTIs. So what is something that you would tell a woman? What's your best advice for them?
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend good hydration. Focus on your water. Yes. For every caffeinated beverage you have, drink a glass of water. I would also recommend good hygiene. Okay. While urinary tract infections are not always attached to hygiene, there is definitely a place for that. Avoiding harsh chemicals, making sure you're not wearing or using highly perfumed laundry detergents and things like that affect your clothes. Good fitting cotton underwear that are breathable.
I was going to say cotton underwear is a big thing. And I feel like they get harder and harder to find. Like it's harder to find cotton underwear. Yep. We're going to go way off and I'm going to TMI it real quick. But I need new underwear and I have been to the store and I'm like, none of this, one, has a cotton lining, period. And they're all this weird,
stretchy
material. Yeah. And I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's a bacteria breeding.
Yeah, I feel
ground,
like,
really.
Yeah, I don't like them.
Yeah.
At all.
So we know that that's a struggle, but that's a priority as well. So maybe if there's any, underwear manufacturers listening, maybe they'll take a hint that we need cotton.
Make them cotton.
And then also, of course, like we talked about, making sure that we're urinating after intercourse. That's so important to clean out the urinary tract itself. And then, of course, there are mixed studies about cranberry supplements. But if you're somebody that is really, truly prone to urinary tract infections, there have been some good studies out that show that the acidity in the cranberry supplements do help.
Okay.
It's not going to reverse a urinary tract infection, but it could prevent things moving forward.
So, random thought that just popped in my head. Wow, we're going to get like way off on this topic. What about the women who don't wear underwear? Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, honestly, I think it's probably better.
Really?
I do.
Ugh.
As long as you're not wearing like super tight fitting jeans or athleisure type wear.
Right.
And there's ventilation. I really do think
Ventilation. I love it. No, I do. I love that. Okay. No, and not that if you don't wear underwear, girl, you do you. But I just think about that. I'm like, how do you do that? And then I just think if they have jeans on,
that's uncomfortable.
Ow.
Yeah.
Like,
nope, it's not for me either.
No.
I'm not in the commando club.
Not in the commando club. Me either. So treatment-wise, just talk about like quickly, what do you typically do for a UTI? And then even if you want to go into like BV or bacterial vaginosis and what the options are for treating that, of course, have to have, a medical provider and be diagnosed and run all the tests and things. But what do you typically do for those women?
So typically we use antibiotics, of course, and depending on kind of what we're suspecting the infection to be related to, most common bacteria is going to be E. coli just because it's there. But there are other bacteria that can sometimes travel into the urinary tract. And so based on your symptoms, based on the severity of, your complaints and the discomfort, is going to help us determine what antibiotic we're going to use. Okay. Then, of course, at this point, we've obtained a urinalysis, and so then we'll send that off and see what grows and make sure that we're giving you the appropriate antibiotic to actually treat it versus just kind of mask symptoms.
Right. Okay. Speaking of E. coli, so what about wiping? Like, is wiping front to back like that important?
It's so important.
Yeah.
So if we are not wiping front to back, we are totally dragging any bacteria from the back to the front, which is a great starter for urinary tract infection. And so it's not a suggestion. It's really important that we're practicing good hygiene with front to back wiping, dropping the toilet paper before starting to wipe again, new piece of toilet paper. People don't give that enough credit either. It's pivotal.
I was going to say, changing the toilet paper each time.
Or, folding so you're not using the same.
That makes more sense. I'm like, every time new toilet paper?
Yeah.
I'm really calling myself out on this.
Well, you are.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Hey, but you've only had one UTI. So.
I have. Look at me.
Yeah.
She's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked all things treatments and symptoms. So basically, the biggest takeaway, vaginal health is normal health. And these conversations shouldn't feel embarrassing because that is another thing women go in and they don't always want to say, well, this all is going on.
Yeah. Don't ever be embarrassed. I mean, it's normal. If you're a woman, we all share that commonality. Okay. So be upfront about it because the more your medical professional knows, the better they're going to be able to help you and hopefully prevent these things from happening to you in the future. Right. Give you educational tidbits that are going to be hopefully life-changing so that you don't end up back in the same situation.
Right. So just going in and saying, I have burning when with urination, if you've got abnormal discharge or an odor or anything like that, that's something that you should also divulge because then that may change the whole treatment course.
Absolutely.
Because then there's other things that can go into that outside of the UTI. Because when you've got the vaginal discharge and depending on what it looks like and even what your vaginal discharge look like is important to tell your provider as well, because then if there's something off, then you start thinking not just UTI, but STIs.
Absolutely. And that can signal a whole different gambit of testing for us. Not invasive. You can go in, you can do the swab yourself, and then it gives us a panel of labs that will tell us what we're dealing with. But knowing all the details is so important.
Which the fact that nowadays we allow our patients to swab themselves because it's pretty easy. Takes away a lot, I think, of the pressure of women coming in saying this is what's going on, because then they're afraid that they're going to end up, on the bed in stirrups and, everybody up in their business. But we don't do that anymore. We literally say, here's your swab, here's how you do it. And then when you're done, let me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that you're really concerned about, or, something feels off, like from a structural standpoint.
Right.
We're not going to force that, We want you to feel like you're in control of your health and advocating for yourself. And this is the way that we can do that.
Perfect. I love that. So we've talked a lot of things today. I hope that it helped you. Maybe you have symptoms or questions, or these are things that you didn't realize. Maybe you struggle with frequent or recurrent UTIs, and Crystal said something that you do on a regular basis that you're now like, oh, maybe I should not do that. We hope this helped you. So stay tuned. We're going to hopefully have Crystal back, and we're going to talk all things women's health related. So thank you for joining us today. If you have anything that you would like for Crystal and I to discuss, maybe you have questions about, feel free to comment or send them to Lebanon Now, and we would love to jump back on here and discuss anything that you have for us. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This episode of Girl Power is brought to you by Covell, Flowers, Espresso, Bakery, and Gifts, Kim Breeden and the crew at Shelter Insurance, June and Beyond Women's Boutique, and Tees Custom Apparel. Thank you for being a proud sponsor of Girl Power.